you can see me, you can see the real me, the real crazy middle-aged white woman wearing two towels, fresh from a hot shower. I washed and conditioned my hair. I'm feeling more life affirmative. I have a new follower at Twitter, and someone just liked one of my comments at Instagram. So, bawling, shot calling. I don't think I need my MFA. I really did have ambivalence about going for my MFA because I would occur, um, I would occur. I would incur more debt. I'm already at about 80K, so I'd be at over 100K in debt. And I know that you're sitting around masturbating. That's such a controversial stance, I know. So I mean, I had the creative writing workshop experience at UTSA, and it was far from optimal. Um, I workshopped with a lot of kids. You know, I was in my 40s. I went through workshops with kids, another generation, and they use the word like in every other sentence. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't like the word rad, you know. So I'm a snob in my own weird way. I mean, I'm not as well read as an MFA candidate should be, I suppose. I've only skimmed through Gravity's Rainbow, but I love Tender Buttons. I can't quote it though, and I can't really quote Shakespeare. So I'd be a terrible candidate for the MFA program at any school in America. Um, I'm a writer from the streets, like our boy Bukowski. I'm more like Bukowski than I am like Billy Collins. I'm the anti-Billy Collins. I could not tell you the name of any of his poems. I had to read one of his collections in one of my workshops at UTSA, and I was cynical about it. A lot of the kids, they'd never heard of Bukowski, which is fine. I didn't hear of Bukowski until 2000. A poet from Wisconsin turned me on to Bukowski. I drove 30 miles to the nearest bookstore and bought Play the Piano Drunk like a percussion instrument until the fingers began to bleed a bit. My favorite Bukowski collection is Love is a Dog from Hell. My favorite novel of his is Women. But I've had kind of a love-hate thing with Bukowski on and off for years. But once in the not too distant past, when I was feeling really gross about life, I stayed in bed with, I guess it was Love is a Dog from Hell. And I just remember laughing out loud a few times and feeling like I had a friend. So, my all-time favorite poem is by Vladimir Mayakovsky, the one about with me anatomy has gone mad, nothing but heart roaring everywhere. Yeah, that's my favorite. Yes, my favorites are the mad ones, the ones who blow their brains out, the ones who jump off bridges, put their heads in ovens. It's a cliche, but I think it's true that when you've gone to a certain level of hell in this life, you've endured the maximum of human suffering. You don't have to be in a concentration camp to feel the concentration camp. You don't have to be in prison to feel prison. You know, I'm speaking about Sylvia Plath, her daddy poem, you know. In prison, that can apply to any number of poems by any number of poets. But when you've really felt hell, it makes you a better artist. It just does. It makes you a better visual artist, a better musician, certainly a better writer. If you've had a very glib, charmed life and you haven't heard a lot, go drink a Pepsi and play some Taylor Swift on the jukebox, but don't contribute to anything because you're not needed. Your voice isn't needed. You know, if I want glib and mindless, I'll listen to the Monkees. That's just my take on it. So I'm going to do a card of the day. This is take 7 or 8. I'm getting these shitty ass cards. I'll shuffle 3 times. Don't drop and reveal my left breast. Okay, so there's... Ooh. I'm feeling it. It's coming through, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. This is going to be a good one. Here we go. 2 of Wands. You know, this card doesn't speak to me. Any kind of elegance or power. 2 of Wands? What the fuck, man? Wands corresponds with the fire trinity in Western astrology. Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. Wands signifies creativity, enterprise. I was going to say moral bravery, but when I think of moral bravery, I think of the swords, which corresponds with the air trinity, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. Cups. Cups are my favorite. Love. I had 10 of Cups at my altar during the full Virgo moon because I drew it and I was ecstatic because 10 of Cups is my favorite fucking card. It's a rainbow with 10 gleaming golden chalices and a happy couple and their child. It's domestic bliss, man. Don't get no better than that. So, I like the Cups. I don't really like the Pentacles and the Wands. I like Cups best, Swords second best. So, what does 2 of Wands mean? What does the 2 of Wands mean? It means some kid from Odessa, Texas is going to write a novel this year that will set the world on fire. Fuck, I don't know. Go Permian Panthers. Okay, so let me look this up here. I attended Robert E. Lee High School in Midland, Texas for most of my high school years. And Permian is the badass rival of Robert E. Lee. And then there's the Midland Bulldogs. And yeah, okay. 2 of Wands. A merchant looks out from a castle battlement over a city and the landscape beyond. He holds a wand in his hand and another rests against the wall behind him. He also holds a globe with the 3 known continents marked, Asia, Europea, and Africa. Meaning, gifts from the heavens, good things will come to the deserving, intellect, and vision. There is also a connotation of dissatisfaction and yearning. A man looks over his dominion but still holds his unfulfilled dreams in his hand. I am very fortunate, and I know that I am. It's like my mom told me when I spoke to her on the phone earlier. If my ex-husband were not so kind and generous, and I've put him through all kinds of hell. I mean, I did when we were married. I was a very shitty wife, and I wasn't the best mom to our son when our son was a baby and a toddler. I was no good. So I was a shitty wife, and if my ex-husband were not so, if he were not so generous and kind, I wouldn't be living in his very nice brick home right now. I'd be living with my mom and her 3rd husband, or maybe my grandmother in Bridgeport. I was going to check into a shelter once. I had broken up with the man that I was going to marry, the man that was going to be my third husband. Capricorn that I was on and off with from December 23rd, 2012 to our latest breakup, the final breakup, when I broke up our engagement in November 2016. We had broken up. I'd left the travel trailer and I was in my car, everything I owned, uh, bulging in these plastic Walmart bags. And I was parked in front of a bar and I called a shelter. He never hit me. I want to make that very clear. He never physically harmed me. Well, he never hit me. Okay? So we just had these very tumultuous, dramatic fights. There was a very unstable dynamic between us. He was jealous. I was jealous. He's an alcoholic, and I'm an enabler. So I called a shelter, or I was looking for a shelter, and the girl was snotty on the phone, and so I told her to go fuck herself, and I hung up on her. But I ended up driving to my mom's ranch. But it's like my mom said when I talked to her earlier, I was sobbing. Um, I really don't care that I got rejected from the MFA program at Texas State. I mean, I kind of cared, but I was really ambivalent about that. It's just it was the proverbial straw breaking the camel's back. It's just been very humbling being on social media constantly, pimping my books constantly, my blogs, my channels, and not getting anything in PayPal, not getting any affirmation really, the occasional publication credits, but not any real affirmation, and another AWP that I'm not going to attend. It's just all kind of added up, and just feelings of loathing, of never leaving the house, and knowing that my ex-husband loves me and I don't really love him, but I'm living in his home and I'm helping him parent our son, and it's just Scylla and Charybdis always. I want to date. I can't date. I'm living in my ex-husband's guest bedroom. I want him to date. He can't date. His ex-wife is living in his guest bedroom. So it's not an optimal situation. And I've applied for jobs and I've been turned down. I've applied for work from home jobs. I've applied for jobs where I would leave the house. I'm going to break down and go to McDonald's or a call center and just resign myself to that reality. So I know that I'm fortunate. I have a home and I found redemptive love here. And my ex-husband is my greatest ally. He believes in me. He told me yesterday, he said, Misty, I've known you for almost 15 years now, and I've never seen you come fully into your power. I've never really seen you be happy. You've had some moments, but it's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of ground is covered in bullshit rodeo. It's not an easy read. It's not a beach read. It's not Francine Rivers, my mom on the phone. There's a Francine Rivers book that reminds her of me. There are several. She said when she reads Francine Rivers, she thinks of me. And my mom wants to see me succeed. She wants me to have insurance. Her prescription is me marrying my second ex-husband again and really committing to being a part of this family with my ex-husband and our son. I was just watching these real life couples at YouTube. I forget what the series is called, but they're facing each other in chairs and they are in dialogue. They pick up cards and ask each other questions. And that's when I started crying watching these couples because, oh God, this one couple, it's a French couple and they have subtitles. They really fucking love each other. And one of the questions, the woman asked the man, why do you love me, or something to that effect. And he said, when I'm with you, I'm good. And it just killed me. I guess that's my fatal flaw, finally, is that I am a romantic with stars in my eyes. I always have been. And at one time, I was passionately in love with my second husband. I had some love for all the men that I was with any length of time. I told my ex a very hard truth yesterday. It was hard for me to say. It was harder for him to hear it, I'm sure, because he still has hopes that we might marry again. And he was saying, Misty, I've known you almost 15 years. I've never known you to be really happy or to really feel good about your life. And I said, there was a time when I felt really good. I felt peace and happiness. I felt at home in this world. And that is when I lived in the travel trailer. And my ex was working construction out of town. He would come home on the weekends, the Capricorn that I was going to marry. He would come home on the weekends and he would grill stuff. We would have our barbecues. And we would throw down because he liked to drink. But the week that I had to myself in that travel trailer with a cypress tree out the window and being careful for the first time in my life of what I ate and going to Planet Fitness and hula hooping while I watched the news and having all that quiet time, that's when I was happiest on this earth. And my ex-husband said, Misty, that's just sad. Okay, it's sad, but it's my truth. So watching those couples, I thought, I felt that kind of love that endures and it goes to hell and back. I felt it once, and I felt it with the Capricorn. That's an inconvenient truth. And I'm a fool because I still think at 45 that I can have that someday with another man. I can have that kind of happiness where we're friends and we're lovers having the best sex of our lives. There are a million things that I want to accomplish before I die. I may not accomplish any of those things. I want to learn how to play the guitar. I want to learn how to play the guitar, and I want to write some songs, and I want to learn how to be a poker shark. And I see myself reading into microphones and signing books, selling art. It's nada, right? It's all nada. All the effort, all the blood, all the tears, all the try. It's all nada. This nada, bitch, this is all I know. So, Two of Wands, which is gracias.